Madam Chair, we spend appropriate time on the floor commemorating the bravery of our men and women who were in harm's way in Iraq and Afghanistan. But there were other brave men and women who worked with our soldiers, putting themselves in harm's way. And I'm referring to foreign nationals, Iraqis and Afghanistan, citizens who were interpreters, who were drivers, who were working for NGOs, people who made it possible for our troops to perform at the highest level. They served shoulder to shoulder with our service members. Now, I am pleased that there is a partial extension in the special immigrant visa programs in the underlying bill for Iraqi and Afghanistan. It's important that we have these special visas. I've been pleased to have played a small role in helping create the special immigrant visa program that enables these people to escape harm's way. Many of them are in danger of being killed because people know that they helped our forces and they are left behind. I really appreciate the ranking member and the chair for their staff work to help partially extend the special immigration visa program. But this bipartisan amendment, offered with my colleagues, Congresswoman Gabbard, Mr. Kinzinger, Stivers, all three of whom served in the field of battle, have an opportunity to help ensure these programs finish the job for which they were created. These programs expire for Iraq at the end of this fiscal year. That's September 30th, and the following September 30th for Afghanistan. And as they set to expire, they continue to be plagued by inefficiencies and bureaucratic hurdles. Through fiscal year 2012, only 22% of the available Iraq SIVs have been issued, and only 12% for Afghanistan. The Washington Post reported that over 5,000 documentarily complete Afghan applications remain in a backlog. The backlog and delay means not just weeks or months, but years for those who risk their lives to help the U.S. mission, and means living in constant... I yield myself another 30 seconds.
The gentleman is recognized for 30 seconds.
Living in constant fear and hiding, knowing they or their families could be killed at any moment. Our amendment demonstrates a strong commitment from the House for comprehensive extension and reform in conference. It enhances the programs by providing efficiency, transparency, accuracy, and oversight. Madam Chair, I would yield the remaining time to Congresswoman Gabbard.
The gentlewoman from Hawaii is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise in strong support of this amendment to improve the special immigrant visa programs for local civilians who put their lives in danger to aid our troops as they've served in Iraq and Afghanistan. We see in times of war and in times of conflict that our service members are lauded and honored for their service and tremendous sacrifice, but there are many stories that remain untold. There are many unseen heroes who sacrifice every single day as they serve alongside our troops. During my first deployment to Iraq, I served in a medical unit, and we had two interpreters who worked with us on a daily basis. One was named Kadam. He sat in our clinic, he went out on missions with our medics, and I spoke to him almost every day and learned so much about his family, his community, and the challenges that he overcame every day to just work with us. He drove home every night with a firearm under his driver's seat, in fear not only of his own life, but in fear of the health and safety of his family. He had a few young children, and he spoke very strongly about his hopes and his dreams for them being able to have a future, to have an education, which was a far cry from the life that he was living there, and that's why he served with us. We had another interpreter named, who we called, our Hawaii unit, called Kahuna. And his situation was very different. He lived in secrecy, where his neighbors and his friends didn't know that he was working with us. And because of that, he stayed on our camp. He lived with us, worked with us on a daily basis because he believed in what we were doing, and he wouldn't want to risk his family's life. The stories go on of those who have sacrificed so much, not only because they believed in what we were doing, what our mission was, what our work was, but in the hopes that they could also live a free life for themselves, a life where they were not fraught on a daily basis with just getting by. And for that, I personally stand in strong support of this. Thank you very much.
The gentlewoman's time has expired. For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek
Madam
recognition?
Chair, I rise to claim time in opposition to the amendment. However, I do not oppose the amendment.
Without objection.
I yield the balance of my time to the gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Kissinger.
The gentleman from Illinois is recognized for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate you yielding. And Mr. Blumenauer, thank you for leading on this. Ms. Gabbard and Mr. Stivers as well. This is such an important issue. You know, we're a nation of commitments, and you know, a lot of the times Washington gets this reputation of, you know, Republicans and Democrats don't agree on anything and we just fight like cats and dogs. And you know, like some of that's true, but I think this is a great example of where, frankly, people are coming together to say, as a nation, what's the right thing to do here? We've made commitments, we've taken ourselves and made promises to people, and people have put themselves out on the line for us. What's the right thing to do? I would even dare to speculate that those of us that are sponsoring this amendment probably don't even agree on the future of the Iraq War or the Afghanistan War. But we do know that we believe we have to hold to this. As Ms. Gabbard was talking about, there's a lot of unsung heroes in the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I experienced it as well as a pilot in the military, as people that were Iraqi nationals, in my case, that really stood up and put their lives on the line in order to fight for a new Iraq, to fight for a new freedom, to provide for their families, and to understand that they want to build an alliance between Iraq and the United States. And a lot of them went home at night, as was eloquently expressed, went home at night in fear that this was going to cost them their lives. But knowing that the strength and the power of the United States was there with them, and that they could rest easy at night knowing that we would keep to our words. Unfortunately, many of these folks have been killed or targeted for killing and do continue to live in fear. And so we created a program which would allow a lot of these that have put their lives on the line in order to facilitate what our interest is in Afghanistan and Iraq to be able to come and come to the United States. And unfortunately, this has been bogged down in bureaucracy that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's been bogged down in a definition of whether they worked for the United States or whether they actually worked for ISAF. Well, I would tend to say that whether you worked for ISAF or the United States, you should probably fall under this program. And I think it's just right that we as a nation figure out what's going wrong and do this. And I think this is a great opportunity. This is a great opportunity to come together and say, you know, you put your life on the line for us, we're going to do everything we can for you. You know, I think about all the times when I would be ready to go fly, and you know, you talk to folks that are associated with what we're doing, and had we not had interpreters there to be able to bring the languages, frankly, of the United States and Iraq or Afghanistan together, we'd often just be staring at each other, not knowing what we're thinking, but we're each thinking something. But to be able to have these folks that come together and really talk about what it is that we need to do is the right thing to do. I just, again, want to say that, you know, as Americans, we have to hold to our commitments. This program provides life-saving protection to those that served us. It's providing it will provide refuge to the countless Iraqis and Afghan civilians that have helped us, and it's the right thing to do. So again, I just want to say to Mr. Blumenauer, to Ms. Gabbard, to Mr. Stivers, and to everybody watching, frankly, and listening to these proceedings, thank you for your help. Thank you to America for standing up and doing the right thing, and to those that continue to defend us day by day. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to yield back the balance of the time.